Boo's not happy. You okay, Boo? You okay? You alright, Boo?
Stella, Splash, Simba, Boo, Sammy, Richard, Nancy, Goldie, Ziggy, Ringo, Eva, Hydrox, and Ditto, the Lucky Ferals.
It is 8:39 a.m. and here's Stella. I just came inside from getting the car ready. Here's Simba. He's been relaxing in this cat tower in Boo's room. Good morning, Simba. And here's Splash. Splash is laying on one of the chairs in the living room. We had a very difficult night last night. I think I'm lucky if I got 3 hours of sleep. I feel like a walking zombie today. Do you see this stain? This is blood. And this is the vomit blanket that Sharon made. So thank you, Sharon, for this vomit blanket because it works great for blood also. And can you see all these blood stains? These are all from Boo's mouth. Right now I have the carrier on the bed. I did try to get Boo in the carrier this morning and I got very close, but he did not go in the carrier. Right now he's underneath the bed and his mouth is still bleeding and I'm going to let him relax there while I tell you what happened. So, as you know, a few weeks ago, I took Boo to the vet because I thought his mouth was bleeding. I thought it was his fang that was loose that might be causing it. And the vet did a thorough mouth exam. I mean, I was there, I watched it, and the vet yanked on that fang to see if it was loose or going to come out, and it didn't. He said that it's in there pretty good, that, it doesn't look like it's coming out anytime soon. So I was like, okay, and everything seemed to be fine. And, then I was sick for almost 2 weeks with a flu, a really bad cold. It was just, not a good situation. And the cats have not been eating, raw food for all their meals. I don't know if that's related to what his issue is right now. And, we've been dealing with some fleas, but they've been under control, nothing like it was last year. And I've been combing fleas off of Boo, but we know he has dermatitis. We know that's caused by a flea allergy. So when fleas bite Boo, it causes skin irritation. Then he starts over grooming. So it could be a situation where he's over grooming and that's affecting his mouth or his tooth. I don't know. At this point, it's just speculation until I'm able to get him to the animal hospital. But from what I could see, the blood seems to be coming from the same area of his mouth where the fang is. So the blood is dripping out of his mouth, underneath the fang, if that makes any sense. And so to me, I think they're somehow related. I don't know if he ate something and then it irritated his gum and that's causing the bleeding. I don't know if the fang has gotten looser and that's causing the bleeding. All I know is he was pretty much bleeding all night. I thought it was going to stop, but from what I could tell, it just kept bleeding. So it started probably 11:30 last night. I noticed it when I was going to bed. And I remember thinking, should I try to get him in the carrier now and take him to the animal hospital now and not go to bed? Or should I just wait it out until tomorrow? Which is what I did the last time Boo went to this animal hospital and they pulled his other fang. I just put him in his room that time and he relaxed, and then I was able to get him to the animal hospital the next morning. But this time he was in my room and I figured, okay, he'll just relax on the bed and everything will be fine, except he wasn't really relaxing because we're also dealing, with the dermatitis and the flea issues. So I was trying to keep him from grooming himself. And I was trying to keep him from scratching. So I was combing him and wiping him with wet paper towels or wipes. And that was going on every, 15, 20 minutes. So I was up with him until about 3:30. I was trying to go to sleep, but every time that I would just be about falling asleep, then I'd hear him like scratching or moving around. So then I would like check on him and see what's going on. And it got to the point where I said, if I stay here with Boo, I am not going to get any sleep at all. So I left the bedroom and I slept on the couch again. If I got to sleep by 4 a.m., I woke up around 7:30. So maybe I got like 3.5 hours of sleep. But yeah, I don't function good on this much lack of sleep. I'm like semi-nauseous. I'm like just, my brain is like not working. It's just really horrible. It is 11:40 a.m. and I just gave Boo a plate with a Sheba Perfect Portion. This is one of the seafood varieties, and the reason why I give it to him is because this is really, really soft. He should be able to eat it. He just ate like half of a squeeze up out of my hand, and then he licked some pieces of it, and then he licked drops of it that were on the floor. But then he moved farther back under the bed. So I don't know what I recorded last, but let me tell you what happened. So there's Boo right now. You might be able to see some dried blood around his mouth. He's not very happy. And so this morning I came in the room and he was under the bed. And I was like, okay, I just got to get ready for my day. And I was like, okay, I have to get ready for my day. I have to get all the other cats fed, and then I'll deal with getting Boo out. So I got ready for my day. I got all the other cats fed, and then I was talking to Grandma Farrell on the phone, and I had her on speakerphone. And I guess Boo heard her voice, because when I went to go back in the room, then he flew out the door. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to grab him. So I put the phone down and I said, keep talking to Boo, because, you know, he likes to hear Grandma Farrell's voice. So I was like, keep talking to Boo. And I was able to pick him up, and I was able to bring him in this room because I had the carrier in this room. I was able to get him almost in the carrier, like not in the carrier enough that I could actually shut the carrier, because he just started fighting and, you know, flailing his arms and legs all over the place and fighting, and I'm all scratched up because I was wearing a short sleeve shirt. So my arms are all scratched up from him, and he was not happy. He's like, I am not getting in that carrier. So then he came under the bed, and I was like, okay, I'll just like let him relax for a while, and then hopefully he'll come out. So I laid down on the bed 20 or 30 minutes. I didn't fall asleep, but at least I got to rest a little bit because I'm so exhausted. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll try to get him out with some food. So I put some food on a plate. He didn't want to come out. And I put a churu on a plate. He didn't want to come out. I tried his spider toy. He didn't want to play with it. Like, he was just not happy at all. First of all, I have a light here so I could see what's going on. But there's 3 big gray plastic storage tubs. So I blocked off the majority of this underbed space with these large storage tubs. Now, this is what I had to do in the past to get Boo in a carrier. I had to like block off most of the underbed area, and then I actually had to put a vacuum on and chase him out with the vacuum. I don't want to do that right now. If I have to do it later, I'll do it later. I'm hoping he comes out on his own. After I put the storage tubs underneath the bed, I then got a Swiffer, and I put a paper towel on the end of the Swiffer, and I said, well, maybe I could get him out that way. So I put the Swiffer under the bed, and he was not happy. He was growling and hissing, but at least I was able to run the paper towel like over the floor, and I could tell that there's not like pools of blood near him. So I was like, okay, that's good. Maybe like the blood around his mouth is just like residual from last night when he was bleeding. And that appears to be the case right now, because it looks like it's dried blood versus fresh blood. So that's good. Hopefully he'll stop bleeding, or hopefully he has stopped bleeding. This is what's left of the churu. So I'm going to take the churu up. I'll just leave the parts of it that are still on the floor. He could lick those if he wants to. I'm going to leave this plate of food here, and I'm going to hope he comes out on his own. Here's Ringo and Nancy and the vacuum. I got the vacuum ready so I could use it in my room later. Here's Splash. He's on the cat tower. So my plan right now is to eat something because I haven't eaten anything yet today. I just got back from putting gas in my car because I had no gas in my car, and I went to Whole Foods to buy some pre-made food, so that way if I don't have any chance to cook anything, I'll have, food that I could just heat up and eat. So, and I also bought juice because I was out of juice. And I rely on juice when I need just quick energy and I don't have time to eat or like I'm not hungry. So I had some juice this morning to get me through the morning, and that's like all I had. So at least I'm stocked up with some food and beverages. My plan is to eat something. Then I have to head out to my office. I have to get something done today. Thank God I don't have to sit in an office from 9 to 5, and I have a flexible schedule and I can work from home, because then I could deal with issues like this much better than, having to cram things in based on someone else's schedule. So I just have to run out and do that one thing. And then, I do have to go to the post office also, so maybe I'll do two things. And then I'm going to come back, and I'd like to relax or rest for a little bit. I don't know if that's going to happen. So the plan with Boo is to see if he comes out of under the bed by himself. If he doesn't, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cleaning the room. My room needs to be cleaned anyway. So I'm going to start cleaning the room and see if he comes out. And then if he doesn't, I'm going to resort to the vacuum and see if running the vacuum will scare him out from under the bed. In which case, I'm going to have to try to calm him down enough to put him in a carrier. Even if, let's say, for example, Grandma and Grandpa came over to try to help get Boo into a carrier, it would make him even more traumatized than he is now. And it would also make him traumatized every time he sees them. So I don't want to do that. Right now, even though I would like to get him to the animal hospital, it's not an immediate emergency. He does not appear to be hemorrhaging. He's not bleeding right now. He did, bleed overnight, but we have to remember that anytime you have blood coming out of your mouth, it is mixed with saliva. So it always looks like there's more than it is. And also, Boo was drinking a lot of water last night. He kept getting up and drinking water, and I kept thinking to myself, okay, well, maybe, his mouth, he knows he has an issue in his mouth, and he's just trying to, rinse it out with the water. So if someone's drinking water and then they have, a little bleeding in their mouth, that'll also make it look like it's worse than it is. We also have to remember that Boo is FIV positive, so I have to keep him separated from the other cats when he's bleeding. So that's why he's in the room by himself. I'm not letting anyone else in right now. So all I can do right now is really take this day 1 hour at a time. I need to get stuff done. I need to get through my day, and I have to give Boo some time to just relax and come out on his own. I don't want to give him those calming drops that he had before he went to the vet, because it specifically says on that bottle, do not give before anesthesia. And if I take Boo to the animal hospital and for some reason they need to give him anesthesia, put him out or whatever, he can't do that if he has those calming drops in him. So he got those last night. And again, I don't know if I mentioned that already. And so I'm not giving him any more today. It's 12:20 p.m. and Boo ate a churro off of a paper plate that I put under the bed with him. He won't come out to eat it, but he ate it under the bed. And I just checked the plate, and there's no blood on the plate, so I'm going to take that as a good sign. I moved the Sheba Perfect Portion under the bed with him. Maybe he'll eat that. I'm just about to leave. I'll probably leave here in 5 or 10 minutes, and I hope to be back in an hour, and we'll see how Boo's doing. Personally, I feel like he's just going to stay under the bed all day. Hopefully, I'll be able to find a way to get him out. I did remember that he went crazy over cooked shrimp the other day. So maybe I'll try cooked shrimp before trying the vacuum. So I'll clean the room. I'll see if he comes out while I'm cleaning the room. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to try the cooked shrimp, see if I can get him out with the cooked shrimp. If I can't get him out with that, then I'm going to try the vacuum. It's 2 p.m. and Boo's still under the bed. He ate the Sheba Perfect Portion that I gave him, so that's good. And he seems really tired, most likely because he was up all night. So I'm just letting him be right now. He doesn't appear to be bleeding. There was no blood on the plate, so maybe the bleeding has stopped for now. I'm actually going to lay down and see if I could take a nap. And maybe I can get like an hour nap in. I'd be happy with that. And then I'll try to proceed with the plan. But first, I really need to put this vomit blanket in the laundry. But I need to replace it with the other vomit blanket before I do that. This is the other vomit blanket. Can you see this stain? This is what's left of the last blood stain. So this was the blood stain from before I took Boo to the vet. And it's roughly the same size as the blood stain from last night. So maybe it's a situation where it'll stop bleeding again, like it did after this instance. I don't know. Only time will tell. And we'll see what happens. It is 2:10 p.m. and I'm changing my plans. Instead of relaxing right now, what I did was I remembered that I have to defrost some homemade raw food. So I took that out of the freezer. And then I have all these portions of organ meats and chicken necks that I have to take out of these ice cube molds and put them in plastic bags. And then because I actually have some energy right now and can function normally, I am going to do the cat chores for the day. So I'll scoop out the litter boxes. I'll put fresh water in all the water bowls. And I'm not going to vacuum yet, but I'll just get that kind of stuff done. So that way I won't have to do it later. I just feel like at some point today, I'm just going to totally crash. It's 4 p.m. and look at what I just saw. Look at this. It's Nancy. She's sleeping in Stella's castle. That's so cute. I'm happy she's using it because Stella has not been using it. Stella has been using a carrier. And there's a carrier not too far away from where Nancy's laying right now. And that's been one of Stella's favorite places to lay, inside the carrier. There's no front door on it. So she doesn't feel like she's going to be trapped in there. But look at Nancy. So I scrubbed all the water bowls in the house because in case Boo was drinking out of any of them and got blood in them. I didn't see any blood in any of the water bowls, but just in case, I scrubbed them all down. And then I scrubbed down the trays that are underneath the water bowls because they haven't been scrubbed in a while, so I scrubbed them down. And I did that downstairs. And I washed some cat dishes and cat utensils. And then I scooped the litter downstairs. I'm in the process of scooping it up here. I have 3 more litter boxes to do. It's 4:30 p.m. and I have a Sheba Perfect Portion here for Boo. I think this is tuna and whitefish. I put some L-glutamine in it, a supplement that helps to heal the mucous membranes of the body, and that would include the mouth. And I also put some of the supplement mix that I use for the homemade raw food that I make. It has vitamin C in it, B vitamins, like full nutrition for a cat. So I'm going to give this to Boo, see if he eats it. And then I'm going to try to lay down for at least a half hour. Okay, so Boo is bleeding again. There's blood on the floor. There's blood coming out of his mouth. So I think I'm going to have to just go to the next plan, which is to cook some shrimp and see if he'll come out with some cooked shrimp. It's 6:15. I got to go in the carrier. Let me quickly tell you how I did that. So I came in the room and I lay down on the bed thinking I'm going to take a nap. And then I remembered that on my Amazon Music account, one of the subscribers years ago had gifted me with an album called Music for Cats, and it's a really relaxing album. It has like purring in the music, and it's supposed to help relax cats. And I know it's relaxing for me when I listen to it, so I said, I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to see what happens, because in the past, when I put that on, I was able to get cats out from hiding. So I put it on, and I was listening to it, relaxing on the bed. It's so relaxing. I was almost ready to doze off. And then, I don't know, like 20 minutes later, it sounded like Boo was walking around the room. And I'm like, oh, it sounds like Boo. Then it sounded like maybe he was eating, maybe he was drinking out of the water bowl. And then it sounded like he was walking around, but I didn't want to move because I didn't want to scare him, So finally, after what sounded like him walking around for a while, I decided to move and, stick my head up or like get up from where I was laying And Boo came flying, like flying from, I don't know where in the room, up onto the bed like he was all happy. And I gave him some pets, and he was walking around. At the same time, you know, his mouth was still dripping blood. Then he decided to shake his head. Do you see all this blood on the vomit blanket? Yeah, that happened when Boo shook his head. And it's here on this duvet cover. I mean, I don't know where else it is. But as soon as he shook his head, I was like, oh no, bad news. Thankfully, I had some extra churros on my night table. So I grabbed a churro. And I said, Boo, you want a churro? So he started eating the churro. Now, last year when we were dealing with fleas, one of the ways that I was able to get those jackets on Boo was by giving him a churro in one hand and putting the jacket on with the other hand. So I knew that, you know, they can really distract him. So there was no way I was going to be able to pick him up with one hand. But what I did was, as soon as he was done with the churro, I just got up and I picked him up and I put him in the carrier. It was like he didn't even know what was going on. And then he was howling, so I put the blanket on top of it. And now I've gathered some of my stuff, already put it in the car, and I'm just about to pick him up and put him in the car. I just want to make sure that the doors on the carrier are securely closed. There was like drops of blood on the floor. I cleaned those up, and we're going to go to the local animal hospital and have him checked out. Boo's not happy. You okay, Boo? You okay? All right, Boo? Boo was pretty quiet on the car ride here, but the minute we got here, he's been howling. You okay, Boo? You okay, Boo? Here's Boo. He's back in the carrier. 2 vet techs just came in, and they took all of his vitals, and all of his vitals are normal. He does not have a fever. Like, everything is normal. Right now, he's not, like, bleeding a lot from the mouth, but we're basically just going to sit here and wait until a doctor comes in, and they said that it is a shift change, so it might take a little bit longer to get a doctor because, you know, the daytime doctors are changing with the nighttime doctors, so they had to put a new wee-wee pad in the carrier because Boo peed all over the last one. It was all urine, so we know he has carrier anxiety, but, you know, considering how much water he drank over the past 24 hours, I'm happy he peed because he drank a lot of water. And he's behaving so well. He's been behaving so well right now. So Boo's back in the carrier. He just saw the doctor, and there's a lot of blood, and the doctor had a very hard time figuring out where the blood's coming from. So they are going to send me like a bill to show me options. And then if I approve it, they're going to move forward with that. The reason why they do it is because it's very pricey, you know, coming to an emergency room and having them do a bunch of tests on him. They want to sedate him to get like a really good look at what's going on with him. She wasn't sure if it was coming from the tooth or from his gums. It's about 12:15 a.m. I'm here in Boo's room. I'm just checking on him before I go to bed. So I gave him 3 plates of food. This one here is some pureed shrimp. That's what he had this afternoon, except this time I put in a multivitamin for him, and he did not eat it, so maybe he doesn't like the multivitamin. There's also some Fortiflora on top. And this is half of a Sheba Perfect Portions with a churro on it, and it looks like he ate most of the churro. And then this over here was chicken liver and chicken heart that was pureed, and that had a little bit of Fortiflora on it also. So I'm glad he ate that. So we were at the vet for over 3 hours. Boo got checked out. And then after he got checked out, he had some tests done. So they did blood tests on him, and they gave him a sedative. They looked in his mouth, and what they told me was that his tooth is loose. It's not loose enough to come out yet, though, but it is loose, and most likely that's where the blood is coming from. However, his gums are also inflamed, like around the tooth area. They say that could be from a few different things, but that could be contributing to the blood, but the majority of the blood is coming from the loose tooth. Also, from the blood test, they said that his organs were fine, but his iron was low. He was slightly anemic, but I told them that made sense because he's been losing blood from the tooth, and they agreed that that made sense also. And his potassium was a little bit low, and they say that could be as a result of not eating well. And I said, yeah, over the past few days he hasn't been eating well because of his tooth, so they think that might be what it is, again, because the rest of his tests showed up fine, and they said that's what made sense to them. The goal is to keep him in his room for several days. They gave me an anti-inflammatory and an antibiotic. I don't know if I'm going to give him the antibiotic, because the last time he had the antibiotic, I felt like it didn't do anything for him, but it did like just totally ruin his gut microbiome. Because he had the microbiome test after being on the antibiotic, and I mean, it was just completely wiped out. So I don't know if I want to do that for him. They basically just gave it to him as a precaution, but I'll probably give him the anti-inflammatory. Also, I asked them for a dose of Revolution, and that is a topical for fleas, and it usually lasts a month. And he's had that before without any side effects. So I'm probably going to put that on him tomorrow also. They said that tonight he still might be a little bit off from the sedation, but he seems to be fine. It took a while for the sedation to take effect because, you know, he's very anxious. And I have the window slightly opened in his room. It smells like someone's burning a fire pit or something. Like it has this burning wood smell, which I'm not too happy with, but Boo loves having an open window. And so basically the goal is just to keep him calm and relaxed, and to keep him on soft food for several days, to see if that can, you know, stop the irritation around his teeth, stop the bleeding, and we'll see how it goes. So I put a training pad down here with the plates of food on it. They also said to just give him a light meal today because of the sedation. I went downstairs and I got some old towels, and I put some towels on the day sofa so Boo could lay on it. And, you know, if his mouth is bleeding, the towels will absorb it. I feel like I'm doing a lot of the things that I did for Ditto when Ditto was in this room. And Boo's been hanging out here by the window, and it's dark here, but I can see a few spots of blood. So yeah, and he just wiped some blood on the window frame. But at least now, you know, I have a good idea of what it is. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to call his vet and find out who the vet recommends as far as having like mouth x-rays and any kind of dental work. And the animal hospital also referred me to a vet that does x-rays and dental work. Come on up, Boo. Come on up. So then what I'll do is I'll research both of those, and then next week give one of them a call as far as setting something up for Boo. I'm feeling scabs on the back of his neck right now. I asked the vet if there's anything that can be done to stop the bleeding, and they're like, no, there's nothing really that can be done because of like where it's located in his mouth. Hopefully it should just stop on its own. However, they said, you know, anytime that tooth is going to be wiggling around, it could aggravate it and start more bleeding. So that's why the goal is just to keep him on soft food so he's not really aggravating it. So right now I have like a little light on in here. I'm actually going to lower that. It has a few different brightness levels, and I'll probably put that relaxing music on for Boo. I'm just trying to keep him happy in this room. Thank you for watching this Lucky Ferals video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you'd like me to post more videos, and please make sure to check out these other videos that were selected especially for you.